I'm Alan Leshner. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. But 17 years ago, the U.S. Congress prohibited the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention from doing research on firearm-related violence. There is, of course, some research done through the Department of Justice and probably through the National Institutes of Health that looks at issues of gun use and gun-related violence, but there has never been, in that 17-year period, there has not been a focused research effort on the public health aspects of firearm-related violence, which of course is a major public health issue. So likely in response to some of the mass shootings that had occurred, President Obama issued 23 executive orders directing various groups to gather more information about the origins of firearm-related violence and what to do about it. One of them was to order the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, to mount a research agenda to look at the public health aspects. And of course, the CDC then turned to the Institute of Medicine and the National Research Council in order to produce the agenda for what kinds of research they should support. The report that our committee produced tries to provide a set of major, most important kinds of questions to be answered through research funding agencies that would help inform policy. Our goal is to provide the data, the fact base, that would in fact ultimately improve policy development in the United States around firearms. And so again, just the public health side, but policy is made on the basis of facts and values. We are the fact people. We have nothing to say about the values issues. We have nothing to say about the public safety aspects, the criminal justice aspects of firearm-related violence. But we recognize this as a public health issue, as did President Obama, and asking CDC to do this research emphasizes that. And what we've done is to produce a research agenda for CDC to pursue. The kinds of research that we recommend include things like what interventions, what prevention strategies for firearm-related violence work and which ones don't. Most interventions are made now on the basis of intuition, common sense, someone's good idea. They haven't been tested for their effectiveness, and of course, no one wants us to be wasting money on interventions that don't work. So that's one kind of recommendation. Another kind of recommendation has to do with the belief that media violence causes, or violence in media causes an increase in firearm-related violence. Well, some studies have been done on TV, but in fact, no real research has been done on social media or video games. And research, we need to know the answer to whether these commonly held beliefs actually are true or not, because that will help better inform how to control the potential for violence. There actually is a rather thin database, given the fact that we've had a 17-year hiatus on public health research. We do know a bit about some aspects of firearm-related violence. For example, we know that there are 105,000 injuries and deaths every year as a function of the use of firearms. But and we know that suicides constitute 2/3 of the cases. But the big gaps that exist have to do with characterizing who has guns, what kinds of people, what kinds of circumstances, when are guns effective for self-protection, when are they not? We need to know more about virtually every aspect, thinking about either guns themselves, safety technologies, what technologies work, how to make those effective technologies better accepted and better used by people. Think about a very complex issue, and we have been prohibited from studying it for 17 years. We had a public workshop, and in that public workshop, every speaker, no matter what vantage point they came from, and these are people for and against gun regulation, for and against the possession of guns, every one of them said that they recognized the need for more and better data so that we stop making decisions based on intuition, common sense, or ideology. There is, I understand, a request in the president's budget for the Centers for Disease Control, somewhere around $10 million in order to begin the process of doing this research. Now we, the committee, of course, hope that other agencies will find this topic interesting. Private foundations will help fund some of the research to be done, because the research agenda we propose would be very difficult to do for $10 million. The agenda is directed to CDC in response to their request, but we do hope that other organizations, private foundations, other agencies will pick up interest in this area and support research themselves. Our goal in developing this research agenda is to get some usable answers in a 3 to 5 year time frame. Of course, you have to do the research before you'll get those kinds of answers, but our goal has been to propose questions about which you could get usable answers in 3 to 5 years.